Hi, this is my self-assessment reflection 2. For chapter 6, I would say that for the collaboration rubric, for the first part, cultivating meaningful relationships, I thought that I was excelling in this just because I do find myself being able to work with very different types of people, and also within those relationships, I try to often build a somewhat like good working relationship, even if it's not like a friendship outside of work. I think I've come to the point where I realize that I can have a really good working relationship with someone, but maybe not go hang out with them outside of work hours. But I do think that I fully trust and rely on my group members to succeed so that we can all do the job together. And then I do often encourage group involvement, but I'm also aware that everyone has like things going on in their life that may impact this. So that's why I said I'm achieving this. I also realize that I think like sometimes some of my teammates decide that maybe like speaking up isn't the best for them, that they want to help out in different ways. So I'm trying to be cognizant of that, and that's why I said I was achieving, because I still feel like I'm not super great in that category. I feel like I try to make a positive experience for my teammates by listening to their opinions, even when they differ from mine. And I do feel like one of my superpowers, if you will, is having a positive attitude despite the circumstances. That's something I'm seeing right now in my internship, is that like there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of changing policies regarding COVID right now. And it's kind of hard to go back and forth between, can we wear a mask or can we not wear a mask when outdoors or indoors. And also Brown's policy sometimes differs from Brown's pre-college policies. So I feel like I'm just trying to take every day for what it is and try to maintain a positive attitude, even when I feel maybe some others are just not feeling that attitude. I would say that I am excelling in establishing trust and accountability. I think that accountability is really important. It's something that I'm trying to hold myself accountable for. I think that it's good to know when maybe my teammates are like falling short on a project. If they let me know about it, it's a little bit easier for me to pivot if I know that there may be something's going on in their life that they need to like take care of and they're not really focused on the project at hand. And I also feel like something I'm trying to do better on is to let people know if there's something going on in my life I need to work on that's, preventing me from getting the work done in the job. For shared vision, I would say achieving, just because I do think that I try to share the vision with the team, but there are some times where I feel like, I don't know, like I try to also like make sure that I'm like bringing my own thoughts that maybe differ from like the shared vision. If it has to do with something that we're like supporting students or supporting especially like underrepresented students, sometimes I feel like the way we go about, at least my internship here, sometimes the way we go about like supporting those students isn't always the best in my opinion. And when it's a primarily privileged group that's making those decisions, sometimes I'm the one that's like, okay, I get that this is our shared vision. At the same point, at the same time, we need to be thinking about who's here at the table making this decision. And if there's no one that looks like the students we're representing, the students that we're serving, then the decision being made probably isn't going to be the most helpful. And so that's why I said I'm achieving, just because I'm still learning how to do that effectively. For collaborative, I do think I'm excelling in this, just because I try to, I'm always like the collaboration owl. It's like your conflict style. My conflict style is usually collaborative or compromising. But I think that my collaboration skills really come into play when some of these decisions are being made. Like I feel like I'm often the person that's trying to do like a win-win situation, and that will come up a lot of times in big decision-making processes. I would say that I understand the purpose and working towards a vision. I'm sorry, I didn't say this. We're on Chapter 7, Common Purpose rubric. I forgot to mention that. I just skipped over. But I would say I try to understand the purpose of an organization, especially when trying to develop the vision. And something that my supervisor told us, I think I may have mentioned this in the video, but when we are making a decision as pre-college interns, is it student-centered and is it mission-centered? And basically she said if anything is falling under those two categories, then I have no problem with however you made that decision. And so that's something I'm trying to keep in mind, is that if I do that, making my decisions based off the students and based off the mission, then I think that will ultimately lead to good things. And then lastly, for Chapter 7, group membership, I would say that I do try to build strong, authentic relationships with people. But the one thing I think it's hard is that I think there's a lot of, especially in an internship like this, because we're all living together, we work together, and we really can't, as I'm sure many people in Res Life feel this way, like you can't really turn off work because you live in the place that you work. So one thing I've been trying to do is set boundaries for myself when it comes to my coworkers. Like, yes, it is fun to go off campus and hang out and stuff like that, but at the same time, also trying to remember that not everyone I work with is my friend, and it's not like a negative aspect, but it's just a more setting a boundary. Not everyone I work with is someone I'm going to go hang out and socialize with off campus, and that's okay. And they probably look at me and say the same thing, okay, I work with Maddie, but I'm probably not going to go hang out with her off campus, and that's okay. That's something I'm just trying to remind myself of more. Lastly, with controversy, with civility, this was an interesting rubric for me, just because it's a little bit more of some of those people skills, but also teamwork skills. So to begin, the respect and courtesy for others, I would say that I'm excelling in this. I feel like I do try to be a civil person when it comes to just engaging with others and engaging with colleagues. The ability to work cooperatively. I would say that I do engage with a win-win philosophy and shared purpose. Like I said earlier, that's really my the way I go about usually making decisions with the team, is how can we kind of make sure that everyone feels like their opinions are represented in the decision. For trust, this was where I kind of went back and forth between excelling and achieving, because I do feel like I try to engage with good conversation, but at the same time I feel like sometimes decisions need to be made very quickly, and especially with working here with over 200 high school students, sometimes you don't have time to ask everyone's opinions, get everyone to talk, because sometimes people are just wanting to make the decision. And also some people don't want to speak on their opinions because they know it needs to be made very quickly. And so I would say that I'm falling in between excelling and achieving. For dialogue skills, I would say that I'm excelling in this, just because I really enjoy intergroup dialogue practices. This was something that I did in undergrad, and I think that it definitely has a lot of implications in student affairs, just because of the fact that intergroup dialogue is important because of varying different identities. And so I think that part of this is also understanding your own opinion, but also understanding others' opinion. And also the part that it said, understand that others' views might help in developing his or her own ideas. And so I think that that's something that I'm trying to do more often, is looking to other people's opinions to develop my own. And also realizing that at least my own opinions I see as tended to change. They're subject to change. And with controversy versus conflict, I feel like as I'm becoming more of a student affairs professional in this graduate assistantship and also my internship, I do think that I'm beginning to challenge people's opinions a little bit more aggressively, just because I feel like people sometimes see me as more of an introvert, or maybe I'm very nice and friendly towards others, and I would consider myself to be that person. On the flip side, if someone in the past, just here at Brown, when people say sometimes problematic statements or phrases about students or a group of students, I'm often the one that's hey, can we check ourselves for a minute? Just check yourself, please. Remember that was a very privileged statement to make. And I think doing so from a place of just of kindness is good. But I would say that I think it's an okay aspect of conflict. I think that controversy holds people accountable, and I think it allows people to move forward without making the same mistake. And I also encourage people to do that to me. Sometimes you don't know you're doing it until someone brings it up to you. And awareness of worldviews. I do feel like I struggle with this sometimes because some people I feel like just come from very different backgrounds than me, and it's sometimes very hard for me to understand where they're coming from, especially when I think that maybe their opinion is a little bit more conservative or small-minded. This is where I struggle. I admit that I really struggle with this. I tend to gravitate towards people who think like me and who act like me, and I do feel like that's something I struggle with because I know there's going to be a time where I'm interacting with a student and they have very different opinions